There we
Alive?
go. It's not letting me click go live on Instagram.
It says we're live.
There we go. Okay, I think we're live in all places.
Perfect.
So, taking off my boots. I cleaned up my sock drawer today and I found an unopened pair of Alpaca Naturally alpaca socks. And I'm like, there is nothing cozier or more puga than a pair of these socks. These are one of my luxury items when I go hiking. This is what I put on at the end of a day of hiking.
You should
when
tell
your
them.
feet just hurt and you just want like clouds on your feet?
Tammy said to me, we're doing a pajama party tonight because I'm too lazy. She said, I just found a pair of alpaca socks and I don't feel like getting out of my PJs. And I had already showered at that point. And full transparency, I don't own PJs. And so I'm in my house coat this evening. I go to bed the same way I came into this world. So anyway, we're keeping it PG, and I do have a house coat on.
Yeah, I put on a new pair of PJs. We've got clean sheets on the bed, and I was like, okay, I'm looking forward to doing this, but I'm not looking forward to changing, so I'm not. Now I've got my cozy socks, and I found a candle. I don't often do the whole scented candle thing. I'm just putting my boots back on so my feet don't get cold. And so I found it in the closet. Obviously, I was tidying up a little bit today. Smells pretty good. So,
what's your scent?
Rose water and ivy.
Mine is Tam Body Woods. I think. It's very masculine. I don't know how else to say it, but it's very.
Do you like my fancy lighter?
Absolutely. Still rocking some wet hair tonight.
Yeah, that's just the way it is, right?
I have to say, oops, I wanted to talk about the socks a little bit more. Well, that looks amazing, Tammy. I also have many pairs of alpaca socks. Excuse me, but I would not wear socks in the house if, for love nor money, I find socks or straitjackets for my feet. So, yeah, kudos to you. Okay, show us your project again.
So I'm frogging a little tonight, so you're going to have to show us how to do that. Because, see this green right here?
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be there. And I can't put my little white heart here. And it's going to look weird when the branch comes out here to have the leaf over here. So I can't just leave it like some of the other stuff I did. Here on this red heart, I accidentally missed where I was supposed to be putting white stitches and had red stitches there. So I just stitched the white on top because who cares? And there's a couple of other things where they're slightly off, but I'm like, it's close enough. It's not going to matter. But this one's in the way, so I think I have to actually frog it.
Yes.
But one of the questions we've gotten is, can you show me how you roll that up again, please? So maybe I should put that candle farther away than that since I'm putting fabric around.
Fire department's coming.
Do you remember when Robbie's nephews? Okay, my mom's gonna love that we're sharing this story.
Mm-hmm.
But she has a small house, and because of where the smoke detector has to go in her house, it's way too close to her oven, and her oven's a fairly hot oven. So whenever she opens the oven door, the smoke detector will go off. And she was making pizza for a big house load of people, and she opened up the door to the oven, and the fire alarm went off. And I guess Robbie's nephews hadn't been there when she was cooking before. and their dad's a firefighter. So they have these snowsuits that look like they're a firefighter. And they had brought their snowsuits in the truck. So as soon as they heard the fire alarm go off, I don't know which of the two boys it was, it's a set of twins, went just booked it to the truck, got his fire gear on. So there he is in July, putting on a snowsuit to go check this fire out.
They were
It
in
was
full
just
bunker gear.
yeah.
Full bunker gear. And you know, it's funny because they just brought that up the other night. I have to tell you, now that we're talking about those kids, I took them out for sushi the other night,
Yeah.
and it was just myself and the three boys, and they were really well behaved. And the gentleman in the restaurant asked me, he said, "Are these your grandchildren?"
Yeah, you have gray hair. But you've had gray hair since you were like 16.
Yeah, very young. And now I'm just owning it.
So all I'm doing is rolling tightly on the diagonal so that the space I'm working with is open to me. And maybe I'm rolling a little tighter than you usually would, but that's because I'm not using a proper tool. I'm just using these little bobbin holders that we have to kind of hold it in place so that my hand's not busy. So I've just rolled to the point. Maybe I'll unroll a little more here.
That's how I do mine. I roll incredibly tight.
And it's back to the front so that when I'm touching this, if my fingers have any oils or any sort of dirt or anything, I'm not getting it on the front of my project. That's what you taught us in the
Exactly.
first
Yep,
video, right?
exactly. Yeah. And that's all. You can see this is a blank piece of fabric I have. I forgot my project at work, so I'm going to start a brand new bothy kit with you folks tonight.
Which one are you stitching?
I'm going to stitch No Cause for a Llama.
Oh, right. That's the next shop sample you're doing for us to get it done
Yeah,
before we order it in.
but I'm stitching it. Like, I'm not a fancy person. I will stitch on any fabric, even weave, linen, Ada. But I just really love, and I don't know if you can see this color of linen. It's a fox and rabbit 40 count. Again, my favorite.
Is it
But
like
look
a
at,
green?
it's like an aqua, like a mint green. But that red, those red glasses are going to pop on this. So that's what I'm doing.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
Oh,
I can
of course.
already, there's a fabric in store I think is going to be like the perfect thing to sew borders onto that and turn it into something.
Yeah. You did well showing how to roll your fabric. So that's only if you're stitching in hand, folks. Like we said before, if the rolling and holding is too much, you can use an embroidery hoop. You can use a Q snap. There's all sorts of different hoops and whatnot that you can use to tighten up your fabric if needed.
I'm actually liking it this way, but sometimes when Audrey shows up at the car quickly, I just fold it. Should I be doing that or?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. When I'm stitching stockings, because they're so dense heavy, I don't stitch by the corner. I actually roll down from the top.
But if you roll down from the top, how are you holding the piece so that your hand's not at an awkward angle?
So I would roll down from the top. And then if I were stitching in the middle, I would just tuck this one corner over. And
Okay.
then I'm just stitching here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the questions we got was, how do you hold the needle so it doesn't hurt if you do a bunch of stitching in a day?
Yeah. So you're stitching. So when we showed you that rolling down, and I don't have a needle threaded or anything right now.
But you could
And I,
just hold the needle and
yeah, absolutely. So let me find, I've got 8,000 needles in front of me. So lots of times I stitch And really, it doesn't matter if you can see my fabric, you just need to see how I'm doing it. But I stitch on top, right? So my hand is going like this all the time. Or if I'm doing, I call it the hunt and peck method, I go down, pull my thread through, and then I come up from underneath. So my hand is going back and forth,
Oh,
right? So
okay.
it's like I
So
never, I don't work over the top. That's really, really awkward and it will
okay.
hurt your wrist.
Yeah,
So
because you stitch for long periods of time.
I can stitch. There's a floss tuber out there, Jen Lee and her mom, they do 24 hours of cross stitch. And like
I
I've
didn't stay awake that long.
no, I don't stay up for 24 hours. We all know I can't form a sentence after dark. So, but I do, right? I'll sometimes do like a marathon weekend and sit and chat on Zoom with some of my
Mhm.
stitchy girlfriends. And we sit there for hours and hours and hours. So, and then that's again, right? And if any of your folks that are coming over to cross stitching from quilting or some other sewing,
Mhm.
they know how comfortable it can be just to sew. And that's all you're doing. It's the exact same thing, right? You're just moving that thread back and forth. Or for Tammy, right, that Danish method is going up and down, which is not my preferred method, but does that answer that?
I think so. I think so. Okay, let me
And
switch.
last week was not a heavy stitch week. I actually thoroughly enjoyed. I got my last week done in two stitchy sessions, which were about, 2-ish hours a piece, I think.
Oh, it took you that long?
I think, yeah, because I'm working with ton,
Right.
a ton of Krynic and a ton of blending filament. And I'll tell you what,
And
it's a
it's
good thing. It's a good thing this is a smaller project because that much Krynic and fussy floss is something else.
well, there was one point where I was stitching with the white. I think it was on the house. And at one point, the filament thread broke and it ended
Yeah.
up on the top. And I was like, no, I'm here to enjoy this. You
Hmm.
are trying to find polite words for it. Anyway, it was a bit of sweary
Hmm.
sewing. And then I'm like, okay. I just cut the filament piece off and kept stitching with the white, and I'm like, it's just fine.
There was somebody who posted on Instagram last week. Is it Linda, maybe?
Linda's definitely been posting her progress, which is kind of fun to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And she was like, she had made mention about the blending filament. And she said it was a little bit frustrating, but definitely not as cumbersome as maybe she anticipated. And that she enjoyed the process, but she especially enjoyed the look of the project with that little sparkly bit in it.
So
Yeah.
I figure it's my piece. I'll do what I feel like. Probably for the top star, I'll deal with that fiddly bit, but the little
Hmm.
bit on the bird, maybe not, or
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
The
And
white heart, maybe. We'll see.
nobody's nobody's gonna know, right? Really,
Right.
nobody's gonna look at it. Tim's not gonna look at it and go, Tammy, I think you missed some sparkly bit here. Like, never, never going to happen. And if he does notice, like I guess I'm gonna have to eat some crow. Like, yeah.
Well, there's a small chance we get him cross stitching because he's watching me do it and he's like, oh, that actually looks like more fun than I thought it was going to be.
There's a ton of men. There is a ton of men who stitch. And it is not as much as lots of people think so. It's not an old lady project. Like, look at Jacob. I have pictures on my Instagram of
Hmm.
Jacob or stitching a feminist piece for his sister, and it was so great. When he was like 17 years old,
Mhm.
right? And when you think of, like a boy's boy, right? Jacob's 6'8". He's a big boy,
Yeah.
and absolutely
So,
not your typical stitcher, but yeah, I loved it.
okay. So how the heck am I getting these stitches out? Because I thought they were in the right place. So I tied them off really, really well.
Okay, so what I would suggest is it the light green of your leaves, and is it the whole section of that leaves that you need to remove?
Yeah, this whole
Excuse me.
section here should be actually here.
Okay, so take your snips, your little pointy snips that you have,
Yeah,
right? And I think I showed you mine last week.
I'm gonna try to do it so the screen can see, but I don't know how much because I'm scared I'm gonna cut the fabric too.
Yeah, see. Don't just snip the
Am
top
I just
leg, Tammy.
so the top thread that goes over, is that what you mean by top leg?
Yeah, so just that one top leg. Don't do the bottom side one.
I need glasses off so I can see up close.
And really, I would like snip um like every row maybe. You don't have to do every single stitch.
I don't know if people can see, but I
Not really, but I
definitely
think
make sure that I'm
I th
not poked into the fabric in any way, shape, or form.
no. That's why I say just do the top leg, because then you're not getting any of your fabric.
Okay, so just do it on a few.
Yeah, just do it on a few. And then you're just going to take your needle. Sometimes I use my snag nabbit, it depends. And you're just going to slide it under that bottom leg and
Mm-hmm.
start pulling it out. And then just the only thing I ask folks is I'm very cognizant of nature. Any of your loose threads, please don't throw them outside for the birds. There's dye in these, so throw them in the garbage, put them somewhere. Just don't throw them out for the birds to get or other wildlife to get into.
Okay, the crazy likes to play with resin person in me.
Yeah.
I kind of want to like put it in a mason jar, all these little ends, and make buttons because we have the ability to make buttons out of resin here. We're
So this
talking.
is
Oh,
not a
go ahead.
fancy one, but
Mm-hmm.
this is my, can you see?
Oh, you've got a jar going.
I do. And that's where I put all my loose threads. And then some people will put them in, you know how you can go to one of the craft stores? I always try to support a smaller indie shop, not one of those big box stores, but hey, teach their own. But those little baubles for the Christmas tree, like the glass,
Oh, the plastic ones that you can get that you
yeah,
fill.
that's right. And some people fill those and they just put a little sticker on it that says what year it's from. I've seen other people put them in resin. I've seen other people, like, there's just so many different things. There's one woman, I don't know her name, unfortunately, I can't remember. But she takes some of her old, like each project that she stitches on, and she has
Mm-hmm.
a tapestry similar to mine. And she just, from each project, she takes some of those stitches and she makes, um, you guys call them like quilting blocks or something? So she just stitches little quilting blocks, like 10 by 10 quilting blocks with her
Okay.
old thread and just turns it into, just to remember that project by. Speaking of crafts, I said I was going to start that project tonight, but I'm not going to because then I can't talk, and we all know I like to talk. So, um, anyway, did I tell you that I did some sewing?
Did you really?
I most certainly did. So I what I know about myself is I am absolutely anal retentive, and my lines have to be absolutely meticulous.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I guess, who I am. But anyway, I sewed together for, I don't know how many, a lot. A lot of those jelly roll strips.
Okay.
So Robbie's mom had cut a whole bunch up for me,
Oh,
and
that was
then
nice.
yeah, it was super nice. Or maybe she had some. It just remnants out of her scrap box, I think. So anyway,
And did
I
she
sewed.
try to do a 45-degree angle?
Hmm. Sure did.
Nice.
Sure did. So that's what I did. Yeah.
All right. And what seam allowance did you use? Do you know what I mean when I'm saying that?
Uh, I took scissors and snip,
Mm-hmm.
snip, snip off my scrappy bits,
Mm-hmm.
and then I ironed them down. And the other thing I just, well, she's not going to watch this because she's not good at technology, and I'm not even sure she knows what Facebook or Instagram are. She doesn't have one of those fancy sewing irons. Sewing iron? I don't know what you call that.
An iron?
No, one of those fancy ones that you guys have.
Oh, the Alyssa where it like comes down on its own.
Yeah,
You
so I
don't
think
have a fancy iron, though. You can use any iron.
well,
Heck, you
that's what
can
she has.
use a roller.
But she would never buy herself one of those fancy ones, so I think we're gonna buy her one for Christmas.
Oh, well, I know who you can talk to get one.
Yeah, I know. So when you can just when I meet you in Barrie in a couple of weeks with mom, I'll
Yeah.
just I'll grab it from you then. Anyway, so this week, as I told you folks, I have been pretty lonely without my stitchy project at home, but because it's fall weather, it's actually winter weather. It snowed for the first time.
What?
Yes, today we had snow.
That's
Didn't
ooky.
stay. It did not stay, but so anyway, I've been knitting up a storm. I knit a toque and I knit one sock, and I just started on some knit thrum mittens. Now, in saying this, I'm going to show you these mittens, and everybody's going to look at them and go, "Oh my gosh, they are ugly." Yes, yes, they are. Not that that's the intention, but they're for a hunter. So, do you see
Oh, they
these,
just.
Tammy?
Oh, that's not blend. That's I'm going to be spotted and not shot. This is safe.
Exactly, right?
What's the
So,
brand on it though?
so these are thrum mittens, and I'm using. I love alpaca. Like there's no other fiber I really like to work with. But if
Hold
I
on, I
were to
interrupt you. Thrum mittens? Is that like the name of the pattern?
thrum, no, whoops, I just lost a stitch.
Or
Thrum is where I'm taking rovings, so 100% alpaca rovings.
oh,
So this
okay.
is the raw, you see this?
Yeah.
This is the raw fiber. So all of your socks, everything's essentially, this is what when it comes off the animal and gets graded, and I'm not going to get into all the specifics, but, and then I just take little bits off, make sure I'm not losing any, but look at the inside. Okay, so that's,
Oh, so that's gonna be super duper warm.
and then I'll needle felt all this.
Okay.
But isn't that like, doesn't it bring you back to like those couches we had as children? Right, those orange, incredibly, they were so hard. But you know what? I
That's what I
bought,
remember about visiting Webwood as a child was like the brown fuzzy couches with a bit of orange and stuff in them.
right, right. So anyway, that's what I that's what I'm knitting right now. But if anybody knows where I can get a couch, like one of those old retro couches, I will recover it because nothing is made the same anymore. And I know I'm going on a rant, but hang on, I'm just grabbing some of my other projects.
Okay. Well, I'm going to interrupt your rant because I got all the green thread out, and I can tell where I've stitched before because it's pulled the fibers closer. So as a long arm quilter, when I remove stitches from an area
Yep.
and I'm not putting more stitches there, I will use like a brand new clean toothbrush from the dentist and just kind of rub over it to kind of space those fibers out. Would you do that on this?
So I have a rubber tip on one of my stitch
Oh,
rippers, I think it's called. It's got
yeah.
like a little, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'm gonna grab one and
Okay,
show people.
so while you're doing that, I'm going to show you folks the rest of my knitting projects. So I think I told you once before, I had in and around the 90-ish mark on whips or works in progress. So that's how many projects I have currently going. I might have ADHD. I also I don't have that many knitting projects going, but I do have I think a sweater that I'm working for my niece Red and some socks and different things. So I finished up this fancy sock.
Oh, that's
Aren't these
pretty.
aren't these colors cute though? Is it a couple of balls? I'm just really trying to work up some of the old stock I have because I really, like I said, I like working with alpaca. And then wait till you see this hat. Okay, again, the color, you'll see who it's meant for. That's exactly what I have, Tammy.
Yeah, these are really good stitch rippers. Actually, I any of the Gypsy products, I've been fairly consistently happy with them. So this
Yeah.
little rubber tip, yeah, it probably would have.
So you
Well,
rub it on top and it takes all that fuzzy bit away. Okay, are you ready
okay,
to see my fancy hat that I knit?
sure.
It's not for me.
Is that for your partner?
Absolutely.
Is it getting
Actually,
tassels? Like the braided little.
no, but they're actually, do you know how many of these I've knit? And so many hunters around here. I've almost become a professional knitter. I think I've made 6 orange identical hats like that. They're so warm.
You're going to be
And
on autopilot
then,
shortly. The
yeah,
alpaca fiber is really nice.
takes me about
And
a day to whip one of those up.
it felts up really, really well when your
It
child
does.
blows out on it and you put it in the sanitize in your washer.
And then the other thing I finished up that I started last year, so it's just all my remnant. I don't like to waste things. Again, all alpaca. So this is I haven't finished seaming it, but
Mhm.
it's just a double knit. I I call it a hunting muff. So when we think of right when we were kids, we had muffs. Am I saying that wrong?
No, I'm just not going there.
Oh, I'm being appropriate for once. But it's a I don't know what else to call it. You put your hands in it. That is so
It
never
is a
mind.
it trying to not go there.
Okay.
Oh,
So that's what I've been up to with my
clearly
knitting and
mom's
I
not watching right now because we would be in so much trouble. Um, I do want to mention the cool thing about the alpaca fiber that you're
mhm.
knitting with is that you have met many of those animals,
I have
right? Like
worked with these animals.
you've
Some of
helped
these
shear
animals
them.
were even on yeah, some of these animals were even on my farm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's
So
kind of cool. My daughter was babysat by some of them because the mama alpacas didn't want me to take my car seat back when she was a baby.
this
Do
is
you
true.
remember
Yeah,
that?
I do. And alpacas, For anybody out there that maybe has a small farm and they're entertaining what kind of animal to get, alpacas are so great with kids. Like they're just, you have to be careful of the alpacas are part of the camelid family, and they spit. Not frequent, but if they feel threatened,
Mhm.
you'll take one. And I've taken a few in my day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We're actually working with Alpaca Naturally to get some of their pressing pads here because, I mean, it's a product we use, we love. I
Mhm.
love that they're 100% Canadian fiber.
Mhm.
I mean, they're felted just around the corner from us here.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know the farmers who have taken care of these animals and the care,
Yeah.
like watching Kathy with her alpacas. Do not, do not think for a second that anything will happen to those animals because they are better cared for than some humans are.
And
And
I always said when I die and I'm reincarnated, I am coming back to Kathy's farm. Like
right?
that's the place I want to go.
Yeah,
I mean, really, if she wants to babysit me, because I'm not that responsible still in my ripe old age, but I mean, Kathy's babysat me on many occasions, really.
yeah.
No, but the two Kathys run Alpaca Naturally, and it is 100% Canadian. The fiber is comes off Canadian animals. That Canadian fiber then goes to different Canadian mills, different Canadian washers, different Canadian dyers, and I mean, it's all over Canada. They ship raw material all over Canada and then they ship it back to them where
Mhm.
it's gone from, right? Like I showed you, these rovings are
Yeah.
then spun into yarn. That yarn then goes to the yarn, um, to the sock knitter, right? Who has
And
a commercial. It's
she's
incredible.
willing to work with us so that it
Hmm.
doesn't have to get shipped back and forth as much to
That's
lower
right.
the carbon footprint of this
That's right.
product. Because the miller that does the felting or the felter, whatever they're called, they're not that far from us. So she's not
That's
going
right.
to ship it to Saskatchewan and then back to us here
That's right.
again. She's allowing us to know who that person is and pick it up directly, which
Yeah.
is incredible. Like it's
Hmm.
lovely to work with them. And it's kind of nice to be supporting these local, like they are very much Canadian small businesses. It's
Yeah.
there's nothing going to these large corporate overheads, right? So
That's right.
I feel good about it. I'm
Hmm.
super excited to get those in, but I have to be patient.
I have one. Um, I have one. I might part with Tammy.
No, no, I'm ordering them in because other people
Okay.
want to buy them. We should have them in before Christmas, though, I think.
Oh, awesome.
So,
Awesome. Awesome.
um, what other questions did we have? Oh, I got the question again. I just realized you're doing the stitch along. Can I get a kit from you too? We have 3 kits left. So you can go ahead, order it online. We will ship it to you. We're continuing to do free shipping for right now. People seem to really be appreciating it. In the future, though, I think we're going to do free shipping on purchases above $100 and 1099 for anything less than that. Because there's been
That's
a
fair.
couple purchases where it's been on the cusp of it costing me money to send something to
Yeah.
someone. So,
And you really can get caught up. I think last week, and I'm sorry I don't have my project again to show you folks today, but I did post, I think it was last Wednesday, and I maybe had a couple tiny little bits that had to go yet. Can you pull it up
mhm.
there, Tammy? Is that a possibility?
Pull what up?
Instagram with my photo. I just wanted to talk, if not, it's quite all
Sure.
right. I did post, and I actually had a post with my Danish plates on it. And that whole concept, remember when we were picking threads and fabric
I do remember seeing it.
and trying to match up and whatnot? It's working out way better than I anticipated. And actually, there was a couple of Danish stitchers who posted and were quite impressed with it. So yeah, it's been fun. But no, you'll be happy to see it. It's easy to catch up on those. Um, right, and I'm really taking my time with it just because I mean, it's only a little bit at a time. So I've actually been stitching mine at work. So usually on my lunch hours, I'll sit and stitch a few little bits. There you go.
So there's one with your plates.
Yeah, so go to the next picture, the first one, I think it is. Yeah, and I've got a little more done now. But yeah, it's really coming
Oh, so you
along,
haven't
eh?
done your candles yet? Are
No,
you counting
I
those as the branch below?
I am because I'll stitch them all again. So you see where you had to frog?
Yeah.
I didn't stitch those either. And the reason
Oh,
I didn't
because if
is
I waited till I stitched the branch, I would have seen exactly where they should have been.
yeah.
Oh,
Like you
okay.
might have to flip up a page. And I mean, that's your choice to do that. If I were you, I would pull those stitches and then just stitch them when we do, because we'll go down to that branch in 2 weeks, I think.
I have to look at the picture to know.
Because are we doing the top part now? You might as well just pull up, just move over to that ScandiTree picture that I have on Instagram.
Oh, yeah. Is it
And
here?
then it's easy. Yeah, it's easy for people to see.
So we've stitched this
Yeah,
and we've stitched this.
yeah.
So now we've got this and then that. So 3 weeks from now, we'll be stitching down here.
Yeah, so I would save it till then.
Okay.
And I know there's some people who have, found that it's incredibly easy and they're moving along super quick, and that's fantastic. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
because it's meant to be you do what's right for you, right? Like it's a relaxing thing. It's not a
Yeah,
contest, it's not a judgment, and that was my needle.
it's a good thing I left you some spares. I'm probably
Right.
going to, I'm probably going, not next week, but the following week, I have a heavy week. So I'm likely going to try and get some stitch ahead a bit so I'm not stress stitching, which is no fun. It's a craft, right? It's a hobby. It's not supposed to be stressful. So
Yeah.
I'll just stitch ahead a little bit and then just keep myself caught up.
Okay.
Awesome.
It's
So
been fun
TM,
though.
yeah, yeah. And I think Tammy and I might do an well, we know we'll see each other not next week, but the following week, and then again the following week. So we'll see each other 2 weekends in a row. And if we can make it happen, we might, take 15 or 20 minutes and just show our projects together and record a little bit so that we're not, 6 hours apart.
Yeah, we definitely don't live close to each other.
No,
Okay, I'm not stitching this white heart right now because it's gonna go in the wrong spot if I'm trying to do too many things at the same time.
yeah. It's near bedtime anyway, so
Okay.
do we have
Well,
any more
it's been
questions?
lovely chatting with you. Let me just look and see. There are people watching, but I think they're
Oh,
choosing to be fairly quiet, and that's okay. I don't see any
probably Aunt Deb and
questions.
Aunt probably Aunt Deb and Auntie Kate's. I'm sure maybe mom, maybe mama.
It's nice to have family supporting us.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
no, there's definitely other people here that I see.
Awesome.
Um, lots of fun. Anyway, thank you for joining us. If at some point you want to jump on to a live and actually be part of the chatting, you're welcome to. I think maybe next week that will be possible for us.
Yeah, I'm not sure what next week. We'll discuss it, but probably.
Yeah. So if you're interested in that, send us a DM or you can send me an email at the store. So at thesewingcafe.ca. And yeah, we'll get you in on the live.
Yeah, and don't forget to post your progress. Let us see how you're making out, and tag us if you want. We might
Yep.
shout you
And
out in the next video.
any questions, you're welcome to ask them. We're not going to label your name onto the question unless you want to be labeled in some way in that. And we appreciate all the love and support that you've been sending to us. It's been wonderful.
Awesome.
Okay.
Okay.
Good night,
Chat
everyone.
soon, folks.